because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is.
"12 seconds ago, Representative Ted Lieu looked directly at Attorney General Pam Bondi and said 7 words that made the entire hearing room go silent. I believe you just lied under oath. Then he held up a document, an FBI witness statement, a statement about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, a statement the Department of Justice run by Bondi never investigated. Watch what happened next, because Bondi's response wasn't just defensive. It was volcanic. Don't you ever accuse me of a crime? She screamed. You need to watch this to the very end, because what Lieu revealed in that hearing room could be grounds for perjury charges against the Attorney General of the United States. And if you are new here, subscribe right now and hit that bell, because this moment is going to define Bondi's entire tenure. House Judiciary Committee, the 11th of February, 2026, 11:47 a.m. Eastern. Attorney General Pam Bondi had been testifying for nearly 2 hours. The Epstein files dominated the hearing. Document redactions, victim privacy violations, protected names. Bondi had sparred with multiple Democrats, deflected questions, attacked questioners. She'd maintained control. Then Representative Ted Lieu from California got his turn. Lieu is not your typical congressman, former Air Force JAG officer, constitutional law attorney, prosecutor. He doesn't ask questions he doesn't already know the answers to. And today, he had receipts. Lieu started with Prince Andrew, the disgraced British royal who appeared in the recently released Epstein files, photos that made headlines worldwide, photos showing Andrew on all fours, positioned over one of Epstein's victims, disturbing images that clearly depicted criminal behavior. These 2 photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime, Lieu said, holding them up for Bondi to see, and are more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. He paused. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July? And why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew? Bondi didn't answer the question. She pivoted, started talking about Merrick Garland, the previous Attorney General. Classic deflection. Lieu had expected that. He moved to his next piece of evidence. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Lieu said, then he played a video right there in the hearing room, Trump and Epstein together at a party laughing, talking the video that has been public for years, but never shown in a congressional hearing with the Attorney General present. I want to know, Lieu said, his voice calm and measured. Were there any underage girls at that party or any party with Jeffrey Epstein that Donald Trump attended? Pause right now and think about that question. Simple, direct, yes or no. Either Trump attended parties where underage girls were present or he didn't. Either the Attorney General knows the answer or she doesn't. Either there is evidence in the Epstein files or there isn't. Bondi should be able to answer. She didn't. She sat there, shaking her head, silent. The silence lasted maybe 5 seconds. But in a congressional hearing, 5 seconds of silence from the Attorney General is an eternity. It is an admission. It is the absence of denial. Finally, Bondi spoke. Not to answer the question, to attack it. This is so ridiculous, she said, her voice rising, and they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. She wasn't done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. There it was, the statement, the definitive claim. No evidence, none, 0. That is what the Attorney General of the United States just testified to under oath. No evidence that Donald Trump committed a crime in connection with Jeffrey Epstein. Lieu was ready. I am going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center. Lieu said his tone had changed. Sharper now, more precise, because I believe you just lied under oath. The room exploded, not with noise, with tension. Every person in that chamber understood what just happened. A sitting congressman just accused the Attorney General of perjury, on camera, on the record, during sworn testimony. Bondi's face went through several expressions in rapid succession. Shock, anger, something close to panic then rage. Don't you ever accuse me of a crime, Bondi screamed, actually screamed, her voice cracking with fury. Chairman Jim Jordan was banging his gavel, trying to restore order, but nobody was listening. Lieu kept talking, calm, methodical, devastating. It is all on videotape, he said. You said there is no evidence of a crime. I am showing you a witness statement who called in to the FBI. He held up the document, let the cameras zoom in, let everyone see it was real. An official FBI witness statement. This is a witness statement from a limo driver in 1995. Lieu explained. He states that he overheard Donald Trump on his cell phone talking to someone named Jeffrey about abusing some girl. Let that sink in. 1995. A limousine driver overhears Trump on the phone, talking to someone named Jeffrey, presumably Jeffrey Epstein, about abusing some girl. The driver was disturbed enough by what he heard that he called the FBI. Not recently, not after Epstein's arrest in 1995, nearly 30 years ago. The FBI took his statement, filed it. And according to Lieu, the Department of Justice under Pam Bondi never followed up, never interviewed the witness, never investigated the claim. Lieu wasn't finished. That same witness told the FBI that he knew a woman who claimed she was abused by Jeffrey Epstein. Lieu continued. That woman later had her head blown off. He paused for effect. And the investigating police said it could not have been suicide. The hearing room was completely silent now. A witness who heard Trump discussing abuse. A woman who claimed Epstein victimized her. That woman dead under circumstances police determined couldn't be suicide. And the Department of Justice, with all its resources, all its investigative power, all its supposed commitment to justice for Epstein's victims, never interviewed the witness who reported all of this. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness, Lieu said. You need to interview this witness immediately. Bondi couldn't respond. What could she say? The evidence was right there. The FBI had the statement. Her department had the files. She just testified under oath that there was no evidence Trump committed a crime. And now a congressman was showing her documented evidence that the FBI received testimony about exactly that. If you've watched this far, hit that like button right now. This isn't just dramatic. This is potentially the Attorney General of the United States committing perjury in front of Congress. Like this video, share it, comment below what you think happens next. Does Bondi face charges? Does DOJ investigate this witness? Does Trump pardon her if she is indicted? Write your thoughts. The confrontation continued, Bondi was shouting. Lieu was responding calmly. Other members were trying to interject. Jordan was banging the gavel repeatedly. Total chaos. But underneath the chaos was a simple fact pattern. Bondi testified, no evidence Trump committed a crime. Lieu presented FBI witness statement describing Trump discussing abuse. That is a contradiction. And when you testify under oath and make a statement contradicted by documentary evidence, that is perjury. The legal standard is clear. You have to knowingly make a false statement. You have to do it under oath. The statement has to be material to the proceedings. All three elements were present. Bondi knew about the Epstein files. She is the Attorney General who supervised their release. She was under oath. She'd been sworn in at the start of the hearing. The statement was material. The entire hearing was about the Epstein investigation and potential co-conspirators. Legal experts started weighing in immediately. Bennett Gershman, a law professor and former prosecutor, noted that if the evidence contradicts Bondi's testimony, that would be proof of perjury. He said Bondi has no special immunity. Any witness who testifies falsely under oath is chargeable with perjury. But proving it would be complicated. Prosecutors must establish what statements she made, prove it was false, show she knew it was false, and demonstrate it was material. Think about Bondi's defense. She could claim she didn't know about this witness statement, but she is the Attorney General. She oversaw the Epstein files release, claiming ignorance means admitting incompetence. She could claim the witness is incredible, but the FBI found him credible enough to document his statement. She can't claim he is not credible without investigating him, which her department didn't do. She could claim no evidence means no prosecutable evidence. But that is not what she said. She said no evidence Trump committed a crime. A witness statement describing Trump discussing abuse is evidence. Maybe not enough to indict, but it is evidence. And she said there was none. Lieu didn't let up. After the shouting match, after Jordan finally restored some semblance of order, Lieu delivered his closing statement. There are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, he said, his voice quiet but clear. And you have not held a single man accountable. Let that number sit with you. Over 1,000 victims documented in the Epstein files. Women and girls who were trafficked, abused, exploited. And according to Lieu, the Department of Justice under Pam Bondi has not indicted a single person beyond Ghislaine Maxwell, who was prosecuted under the previous administration. Not one co-conspirator, not one client, not one facilitator. Not one person who enabled, participated in, or benefited from Epstein's trafficking operation. 0 arrests, 0 indictments, 0 prosecutions. Lieu's final words were devastating. Shame on you, he said, looking directly at Bondi. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing. Resign. A sitting congressman telling the Attorney General to resign, not asking, not suggesting. Telling. Because the evidence presented in that hearing, the FBI witness statement, the uninvestigated claims, the lack of accountability for any co-conspirators, painted a picture of an attorney general either incompetent or complicit. Either she didn't know about evidence in her own department's files, which is incompetence, or she did know and lied about it under oath, which is perjury. Neither option is acceptable for the nation's top law enforcement official. The video clip went viral within minutes. "Don't you ever accuse me of a crime" became an instant meme. But underneath the viral moment was something more serious, a potential perjury case against the Attorney General, a witness the FBI documented in 1995 who still hasn't been interviewed, a woman who claimed Epstein abused her and died under suspicious circumstances that police determined could be suicide, and a Department of Justice that seems more interested in protecting the president than prosecuting child sex traffickers. Bondi's defenders immediately went to work. They claim Lieu took her statement out of context. They said no evidence was shorthand for no prosecutable case. They argue the witness statement was unverified and unreliable. They pointed out that anyone can call the FBI and make a claim, and that doesn't make it true. All of that might be valid, except for one problem. If the witness isn't credible, investigate him and prove it. If the statement is unreliable, interview him and determine that. If there is an innocent explanation for why Trump was discussing abusing some girl with someone named Jeffrey in 1995, get Trump's version of events and put it on the record. But you can't claim there is no evidence when you haven't investigated the evidence that exists. The pattern is clear. Every time someone asks Bondi about evidence implicating Trump, she deflects. Every time someone presents documentation, she attacks. Every time someone demands accountability, she changes the subject. That is not how an attorney general behaves when there is nothing to hide. That is how someone behaves when they're protecting someone. The question is why? Loyalty, political calculation. Because Trump appointed her, or because she knows there is evidence and doesn't want it investigated. Here is what should happen. Congress should subpoena the complete FBI file on this witness. They should bring him in to testify. They should get his full account on the record. They should investigate the woman he mentioned who died suspiciously. They should determine whether police really ruled it non-suicide. They should build a timeline of what the FBI knew when they knew it and why nothing was done. And if there is credible evidence that Trump or anyone else committed crimes, they should demand prosecution. Evidence leads to investigation. Investigation leads to determination. Determination leads to prosecution or exoneration. But you can't claim there is nothing there without investigating what is there. Representative Lieu did something important in that hearing. He created a record. Bondi's statement is now documented testimony under oath. The FBI witness statement is now public knowledge. The contradiction between them is now on the record. If the Department of Justice doesn't investigate this witness, that becomes evidence of obstruction. If the witness is investigated and found credible, that becomes evidence Bondi committed perjury. If the witness is investigated and found not credible, that should be documented with an explanation of why. But the one thing that can't happen is nothing. The Attorney General cannot testify there is no evidence and then have evidence presented that contradicts her testimony without consequences. Subscribe now to follow what happens next. This story isn't over. The witness exists. The FBI statement exists. The contradiction exists. Either Bondi faces accountability for lying under oath, or the system proves powerful people can say anything without consequences. Share this video, make sure everyone knows. Make sure the pressure stays on. Without public pressure, this gets buried. 12 seconds. That is how long it took Ted Lieu to potentially end Pam Bondi's career. I believe you just lied under oath. 7 words backed by an FBI document, a witness statement from 1995 about Trump and Epstein never investigated. Now it is on the record. Now it can't be taken back. Now Bondi has to live with saying there was no evidence while a congressman showed her evidence on camera in front of the world. The only question is whether anyone will hold her accountable